I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Edward Andrew. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Fantastic, Angel. And here I am sitting in England, and amazingly, in winter, it's sunny. So it's a good day.
That's very, very good to hear, my friend. Please tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Well, I think we connected through LinkedIn, so that would mean the sort of marketing talents. But I think we connected because I also have a podcast, so we're both in the same space.
Yeah, podcaster, family podcaster. Tell us about your podcast, please, Ed.
Okay, well, my podcast is about careers, work, life, and a little bit of law. So I was a lawyer a long time ago, and what I'm trying to do is inspire people to go and find something else, something that maybe is missing in their life, to equip them with some knowledge, to be curious. So to listen to people such as educators, scientists, lawyers, former lawyers, entrepreneurs, but just to inspire people to say, you know what, I've always thought about doing that. I'm going to go and explore that. That's the purpose of my podcast.
Yeah, pretty amazing conversation there. I got to listen to that podcast yesterday, my time, and you did not sound like a lawyer.
Well, it's been 25 years, Angel, since I was one. But I think that the skill that we use I was a barrister, which in the UK means basically a trial attorney.
Yeah.
And so we're used to what some people would call interrogating people, but I hope on my podcast it's a little bit softer than that.
It felt softer. Yeah, it was more reporter, not barrister.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. I totally enjoyed it. Really nice, a light level conversation. Nice over a cup of tea, if you would.
Yes,
really enjoyed
why not?
it. Yeah, no, it was
Thank
really
you.
amazing. You're welcome. So who did you learn the skill of podcasting from?
Well, we were just talking about that. So JLD, who is on your podcast, and his Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast. I came across that, and then I came across the fact that he actually teaches how to podcast. And then I started Googling and YouTubing, and obviously Tony Robbins has got a very well-known podcast. Tim Ferriss has, and so JLD gave me the tools to do it. And then Tim Ferriss, I watched him basically give a very good little 10-minute snapshot of just the basic information he does and how he goes about it. And then, as I say, I was a barrister for a while, and then I was a headhunter for 15 years. So I hope I'm good at talking to people. And as you know, yeah, you better be. Exactly. And then all we got to do is go and buy the equipment. So here I am in my little office with all my podcast equipment ready, and the only difference is I haven't hit the red recording button.
Oh, really? I'm surprised you didn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. Since you're telling me to, I'm recording that right now.
Yes, the red light brings peace to the podcaster.
Well, I didn't know your experience. I know we only have a very few minutes, but in the pre-call, we used to settle people, because once we get into the podcast, even with very experienced interviewers, they get nervous, right? Yes. And they don't always respond in the way that we expect them to.
Yes. And you wonder if there is a red light in their mind, right? Sometimes, because it's amazing the power of the mic, and or even just the power of the positioning of understanding that your voice is being recorded. It's like taking a picture, right? You immediately put your best face on, which sometimes can put someone in a position to answer the question in the way you would like to. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and in fact, in the pre-call, I'll get sometimes much more detailed answers than I get in the call itself.
Yeah.
And I was watching Tim Ferriss said something very interesting, and for any other podcasters out there or people who are thinking about doing it, it was a really interesting point. He said, and he's dealing with obviously A-list celebrities. He said that he recalls his conversation from the get-go. So he records absolutely everything, the pre-call, the recording itself, and afterwards. And that way they never see the red light being switched on. He may say 3, 2, 1, hello and welcome, but he records everything. And he said that way it sort of removes some of that red light phobia.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. I think it's rude though.
You think it's rude to record everything?
Yeah, no, I think it's rude to not like to just. Well, I guess he's letting them know, hey, from on the get-go, you're recording. Is that how he's doing it, or? Well,
he's doing it to settle their. What he said is he's doing it to settle their nerves. Obviously, he deletes all of it.
Okay.
Everything apart from the audio, the recording itself, everything's deleted.
Okay.
The interview, everything is.
Yeah.
He's doing it so that they don't physically see him, because he does a lot of his podcasts face to face, whereas you and I do most of ours over Skype.
Right.
So when someone actually sees him hitting that button, they clam up.
Yeah, which is one of the things I do. If anyone wants that secret, for what it's worth, is I do not do video. I've done it once or twice, but this really creates a type of space that is conducive to that deep conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it's a very safe space for people, and they also know that it's much easier to, though we don't necessarily tell everyone that, it's quite easy to edit. So, if there's a dog barking or a cat meowing or a child knocking at the door, or they say something which they suddenly realize is actually not in the public domain, particularly if you're talking to business leaders, they know that we can just edit that and keep going. Where if it's on video, it's much harder to edit the video.
Yeah, definitely is. Ooh, you definitely fell in the podcasting space and you are loving it.
I am loving it, Angel. But you've done 1,000 in 12 weeks. I mean, 1,500 in 12 weeks. You are the master.
Well, yeah, it's been amazing, my friend. It's definitely been an amazing journey. Got to 1,001 in 3 months in 2016, and now heading for 800 in 12 weeks. Pretty amazing journey. Why will you continue? Because I'm going to continue, Ed. Why will you continue the podcast?
I think it's I love being able to give away free content to people without, and I think it's not a transaction. It's just an ability to listen. I think, my main purpose here is to help other people and inspire them and equip them with that knowledge. So I think it's a really beautiful way of getting people to share their stories in a safe way, but which other people can listen to, because otherwise it would be like you and I having a 1 hour, Skype chat about life and work and whatever else and family, but other people being able to listen to that and thinking, oh, wow, that's something maybe I'd have liked to ask that question myself, but I'm a bit too nervous to do that. Or there's a book or an inspirational or motivational passage that I want to go and read about as well, or maybe that actually I can change my life and do what I really want to do. And I think that message that we can share on these podcasts is and share people's stories from all over the world. I think that is that's something which that's the reason why I do it, and I'm sure that's the reason why you do it as well.
Yes, my friend. Well, tell us one other thing that you do consistently or have done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Yeah, I thought about that question. And I think one thing I've done consistently over the last 8 years is move continents every 2 years, but that's not particularly a good thing.
It isn't.
But,
wow.
No, well, not good for stability of the children, but it's all around business. But the one thing which I do every day and have done for 3 years is either meditate or do an energy session. And what I mean is I'll do a Qigong session, which is drawing energy into our universal energy into our body, or I meditate. And that gives me energy through the day, and it settles me down and gives me a state of calmness. And whenever I feel that life is vibrating a little bit too much, I'll go and do another session.
Why would you suggest someone that's listening even consider the idea of doing that every day?
Well, it depends. Look, I was someone who used to exercise a great deal. I still do, but, you don't always have the opportunity to do it. So what I'm trying to do is life gets you at many different levels, all through the day and all through the week. So what we're trying to do is, if you want more efficiency, you want more productivity, you want to be calmer, you want to be more focused and energized, because if you are working hard or you're a parent at home looking after children, you need a lot of energy to get through the day. And you can't do that solely just by nutrition. We need to find other ways of doing it. And that's what works for me. So if you're looking for something other than running on the beach or going to the gym, these are really good methods of calming down and settling ourselves ready for the day.
Amazing audience. You're hearing it live here from Ed Andrew. I like the name Edward, but he says it sounds like his mother is calling him, but I do love it. Yeah.
Hey, whatever you want, and John, that's fine.
I love it. Well, Ed, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Ed, what is your earliest childhood memory?
I was thinking about that earlier. I think it's of going to sleep at night and having lost a tooth and waking up in the middle of the night as I think my mother was putting, 10p under my pillow.
How old do you think you were?
I don't know. I would have had to be pretty young. I would have said probably about 4, I would think.
Wow. Do you see connections to that memory, to who you are now?
I can't say I do. No, I'm sorry about that. I remember it. I remember it happily. Put it that way. So yes. It's a good family memory.
Well, can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Sure.
One of the things that stuck out is when I asked why you will continue to repeat the skill of podcasting, you said, I love offering people free content. And, just to see that one of your earliest childhood memories is when your mother is offering, quote unquote, air quotes, right? Free content, right? And free content meant, if you would, which I think is connected to the content that you deliver as well. It's just amazing how those connect, that now you are that person. You're not the tooth fairy, of course not, but just giving people value for their time, valuable content. It's fascinating how that connects for me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but I think, yes, it's about, and sharing, it's about sharing experiences, sharing journeys, because not everybody wants to be able to share those or feels free to share those. So
yeah, it's inspiration and pain as well too, right? I mean, you lost something, but to understand or to have that thing that then encourages you to move on, because there's going to be another, right? Until there's none.
Well,
but
well, if I lose all my teeth, I'll probably be very old. But I think very quickly on that point, yes, that the moving on is very important, because anyone who's ever listened to my show or listened to the videos knows that, a while ago I had cancer. I beat it, didn't have any Western intervention to do so. But the important side of that and the connection to this is that if we repeat the mistakes of the past and we get that lesson again, we might not survive the second lesson. So we've got to be really careful not to do that.
Yeah.
And so one of the points of the podcast and all of this message to the world is there are some people, I know many, who are on a similar journey, or it could be stress at work or family or life, and stress causes illness, who maybe don't have the courage to ask those questions that help them. And I think sharing this journey and sharing this message, and to me, this is not about pain. This is about liberation. I think that gives other people the opportunity to go and fix these things for themselves. And I think, that's why I'm here.
That's amazing. And if we fast forward, my friend, to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Yeah, I was. Look, the first album I had was ABBA, Greatest Hits, but the song which my mother used to play all the time when I was 12 was an English singer, and I think it was a composer called Peter Skellen. So I suppose from a childhood perspective, it's sort of Fred Astaire, that type of music from when I was a young person. But ABBA, Greatest Hits, was my first ever album, and I think I was 12 or 13.
Wow. All right, my friend. Well, Ed, we have now arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it'll be yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here, wrap it up in 12. Are you ready, Ed?
Yes, I am.
Ed, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
I believe in spirit.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No way.
How about 3 hours a week?
I doubt it. No.
Wow. What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It's probably about 8 hours a day.
Ed, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents Edward Andrew, what would you say that is?
Well, the statement that resonates most powerfully with me is one actually from the Dalai Lama, which is, the purpose in life is to help others. And if you can't help them, then don't hurt them.
Just like Ed's mother helping him with that gift under his pillow for the exchange of his tooth. Help others. I love that. Ed, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would just like to thank you, Angel, for this wonderful opportunity to talk to you. I think you're doing absolutely fantastic work. And if anyone is interested in hearing a little bit more about what I do, my podcast is the Ed Andrew Podcast. But this is really about you, Angel, not about me. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, his podcast is pretty amazing, folks. So definitely do check out the Ed Andrew Podcast. Ed, my friend, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
My pleasure, Angel.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.